All right, well, welcome everyone to tonight's asset protection webinar. This is from Protect Wealth Academy, and this is kind of an extension of the 3-day asset protection summit we held last week. Oh my gosh, we had an incredible lineup of speakers. For the first time in about 10 years, we had Kwame Granderson talking on millionaire mindset, and what an incredible message he had. We had Bill Danko, the author of The Millionaire Next Door, with us, and talked about what makes millionaires and how to be richer than a millionaire. He talked about integrity. He talked about charitable giving. He talked about thrift and staying within your means. And he talked about integrity and values and things that I don't know, the world's leading expert on millionaires. To have him just get real with our students was incredible. Then we had the former senior trial attorney from the IRS teach taxes, and Clint Coons and Patrick James, and what an incredible lineup. I got to tell you, I'm honored to be in their presence, and just rub shoulders with some remarkable men and women. Stacy Acevedo and Mike Koval, and it really is an honor to be here with Protect Wealth and see what they do. But we couldn't fit everything into the into 3 days. There's so much of content we'd like to do. And one of the things we wanted to bring and bring to our students' attention is the remarkable opportunities that there are in shared housing. And it's kind of a niche in real estate, but it's a really, really lucrative niche. And so with that, we brought on Gene Guarino, and then he's got Frank and Sherri. He'll introduce them a little bit later. But Gene, they didn't come to hear me. I guess I'm killing.
They always come to hear you. What are you talking about?
I'm killing the first 30 seconds for the people that arrived a minute late. But Gene, thank you for being here and sharing this with our students. So turn time over to you, and will there be kind of a Q&A at the end, or are you going to answer questions throughout?
Absolutely. Q&A at the end for sure.
Okay, sounds great. Gene, awesome. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Hey, thank you, Don, and thank you, Kendall, for inviting us here. And I know some of you who were at the event this past weekend, you heard me talk a little bit about shared housing, and you're wondering, well, what is this in relationship to residential assisted living? So I'm going to share with you exactly the how, the why, the what, the where, and why this was even created. The need is enormous, and that's what we're addressing here right now. You know, for years, when I've been teaching people about residential assisted living in our classes, there were people that would come up and they would always say something like, Gene, can I use a home like this for fill in the blank, foster kids, somebody with autism, sober living, all kinds of solutions. And I'd said, well, yes, what I do is residential assisted living, but the home can be used for many different things. So after so many people came up, I realized not only is there a real need, but there's a lot of people interested in being a part of the solution. So frankly, that's why we created the Shared Housing Academy. But I couldn't have done it myself. I needed to meet the right people and get involved with them. And I'm going to introduce them to you in just a few moments, but I want to just kind of start this right here. And by saying this, I'm going to show you how to take 4 homes to become financially free, 4 homes to freedom. You know, with what we do with seniors, we can do it with the single home, but some of you may have said, well, I don't want to work with seniors or that market itself of assisted living. Is there some other way? And the answer is yes. As a matter of fact, at the end, I'm going to share with you not only the secret, but we're also going to share with you an incredible opportunity that I've literally never made it before. I told Kendall just before we started, I'm going to offer the people who are live on this presentation something very, very special that'll just be for you. So get ready for that and get ready to take action. So first, I want to set the your mindset. There are 70 million people in the US right now that are facing some form of housing insecurity. So when I say 70 million, that's a huge population. We know that this last year, there was a lot of people who were told you don't have to pay your mortgage. Some of them haven't paid it for a year. Well, that's going to create a problem once it's finally due. But beyond that, you know of all kinds of people. Yep, certainly we hear of the homeless population, but there's so much more than that. And I'm going to share with you each of the top opportunities, but there are 70 million people. That's a large, large number. Now, when I say shared housing, how many of you have ever lived in a dorm before? And if you have, you understand it could be kind of a party, a frat party, even a toga party. But that's not what we're talking about when we say shared housing. Matter of fact, I want to just dispel some of the myths right here and right now. When I say myths with shared housing or a group home, which is another way that it's said, with a group home or shared housing, some of the myths are things like this. Well, it's a frat house. It's the animal house. It's a drug house, squatter's house, a multi-family house. That's not what I want. Guys, that's not what we do at the Shared Housing Academy. We're going to share with you the exact formula step by step so that you can do this successfully in your area. I'm going to share with you the truth, and we're going to go through it, and I'm going to have you hear directly from Frank and Sherri because they're going to share with you exactly why they created a solution that we're now bringing to you as the shared housing formula. Now, when I say the shared housing formula, here's the truth. We're talking about homes in safe, desirable neighborhoods where you can have appreciative residents, not ones who are cursing you out, not wanting to give you the rent, but people that are truly happy and appreciative that you've provided a home for them, where you can get double and triple the income. And we'll talk about that. In addition, allowing you to have true impact with your investing. You know, the older I get, the more I realize it's not about me. It's not about money. It's about leaving a mark, leaving the world better, doing something with impact, and ultimately doing good and doing well all through it. So that is the truth. And that's what we're going to share with you here tonight. Now, the question you're asking, is this for me? Well, if you're a real estate investor looking for real cash flow, not $100 a month or $200 a month, but something in the thousands, this is for you. Or those of you who are saying, well, you know, I've been doing short-term rentals and they were great until they shut down my community, or they said people couldn't come, or they have to stay for a month at a time. Well, I've got a solution for you with this shared housing formula. And for those of you who are saying, well, I've got a house and I'm looking to repurpose it. I had a call today. Somebody who has 180 acres, a large home, but they're looking to repurpose that home and what they're doing. Well, this is for you. And for those of you who are saying, I truly want to have impact. I've been making money doing my thing. I've got equity, I've got properties, but I don't have meaning and purpose. I want impact. That's who this is for. Now, when I say shared housing opportunities, I want you to think of a residential home, single family home. Notice I emphasize single, one family. That's what people think. But what is a family and who could it be shared with? Maybe it's a group of veterans who are home alone, or maybe just with their spouse, and they're saying, we would love to live in a community of our peers, a shared housing opportunity for veterans. There's a shared housing opportunity for people transitioning out of prison. Now, as soon as I said prison, all kinds of things come to your mind, but I want you to look at that picture right there of those three lovely young women. They were all prisoners. They were all in the system. They probably shouldn't have been in a prison with the other people who are truly criminals, but we're going to give you the stats and the facts. You're going to see that there's a lot of people right now that are in prison that's not the best place for them. And the states have figured it out. They're spending $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year to house a prisoner, where if they were released, a nonviolent prisoner, into the right environment, clean and sober, oh my goodness, they're willing to pay $1,000 a month for them to be in a shared room. We'll talk about that. And then students. You know, I would have thought that student housing would have gone down the drain this past year, but the reality is it's gone just the opposite. Why? Because those students still want to get out of the house and go enjoy the college experience, and the parents still want to send them there. So if anything, there's people that are signing those agreements sooner. Instead of waiting to the end of the year, they're signing up sooner. Another shared housing opportunity is clean and sober recovery homes. People of all kinds who need a place to be, to not go back to their old environment, but someplace where they can be safe, clean, protected. We're going to talk about that. Foster kids. When a child ages out of the foster system, unfortunately, there's people that kick those kids out. You're 18, you're 19, the state's not paying anymore, you're on your own. We're going to replace you with somebody that the state will pay for. Imagine your 18-year-old all of a sudden just being out on the street saying, go figure it out on your own. Many of them still need a home. They need guidance. There's an opportunity there. Golden girls, golden boys. I've talked about this for years. People who don't need assisted living, they don't need a nursing home, but they don't want to stay at home and be alone. They'd rather be with a community of peers their own age. There's a shared housing opportunity there. Adults with disabilities and specifically autism. I'm on a board of a large nonprofit, and the whole goal is to provide housing for adult children with autism. There are millions of people that will outlive their parents who can't be on their own. They need assistance, and those parents are desperately looking for a solution. We've got it. The shared housing formula we're going to share with you. Maybe it's temporary workers coming in to cover a need, or maybe it's corporate housing, or it's any shared journey of any kind. So the shared housing opportunities are plentiful. I just gave you the top 10 right there. But what does this really look like? And what is it that you really want? I think a lot of you like the idea of getting double and triple the income from that same single family home. In addition, purpose-driven investments that have meaningful impact. Again, the older I get, the more that becomes real and relevant and ultimately the true goal. In addition, a clear path to a safe and secure retirement. Some of you figured it out this last year. The boss is only going to keep you around as long as they need you. And if you're busy making other people's dreams come true, what about yours? Who are you really helping? Whose dream are you truly helping to come true? So if this is for you, I want you to listen very carefully, because again, at the end, I'm going to give you a very special offer and opportunity, and I'm really excited. It's the first time I've ever done it, and I'm going to give it to you guys right here. So the question, Gene, how much money can I make? Let's just get crass and get right down to it. I know Don spent 3 days with incredible people showing you how to protect what you've got. Well, I want to help you get a bigger problem, more money, more income. So what does this really look like? Well, first of all, how much can you make with a single family rental? We're talking about, in essence, taking a single family home and not renting it to a family, but renting it to individuals. So we'll go there. But first, if I took an average home in America today and rented it out, the average rent in America today is about $1,700. But with the cost of the housing, the taxes, insurance, vacancies, maintenance, all of that, that may be $1,500, which leaves you with $200 in positive cash flow. Now, when I first did my first rental property, I was 18 years old. I think I made about $100 a month, and I was excited. But today at my age, a couple $100 doesn't pay for a round of golf. How much do you need? How many of those homes would you have to get there? But I also know there's a lot of people right now that are into real estate, and really it's a house of cards. They're playing Jenga with their future. What's the challenge for real estate investors today? Prices keep going up. Competition is stiff. The rents themselves aren't keeping up with enough money, income to be able to pay the outgo in the mortgage replacement, et cetera. It's a challenge. Even people with short-term rentals saying, look, I can't rent it out because Anaheim shut me down. I can't even do it there. Or they have to stay for 30 days, and most people want 2 days or 7 days or 2 weeks, not 30 days. All kinds of challenges for real estate investors today. Competition, rising prices. The world is changing, and it's time to innovate. So with the shared housing solution, how many homes would it take to use the shared housing solution to become financially free? Well, I think one of the things we have to look at is we need to look at that home differently. Instead of renting it out to a family, one home, $1,700, if we did it like a pie, instead of buying the whole pie, you just buy a slice of the pie and cut it into 8 slices where each slice is $1,000 a month or $800 a month. Well, now the cash flow is significantly higher. Your expenses are a little bit higher because you're going to pay for the utilities, but the bottom line, a lot more profit, a lot more hits the bottom line. So if you need $10,000 a month to live on, and that's what a lot of people tell me, $10,000 a month. Well, we're going to show you exactly how to do that. 4 homes to freedom. But first, I want to introduce a couple to you. And Frank and Sherri, now is a great time to go ahead and turn on your cameras. I'd love to have you share a little bit and say hello. So everybody give a round of applause to Frank and Sherri. Thank you for being here, you two. You're down in Florida right now. You went from Seattle to Florida. And one of the great things about the shared housing formula is you can do it from anywhere. But what I'd like you to do is just take a few minutes and give everybody an idea of your background. And we're going to talk a little bit about that life story on what got you to where you are today.
Okay. By training, I spent most of my adult life in school. I'm a medical scientist and a patent counsel, and I've started biotech companies. And what I learned is that education in W-2 did not give me security. And Frank found the same thing. You want to share?
I was 34 years in a luxury branding marketing company, and it was very sexy, very exciting. I traveled the world. I did business all over Europe, all over Asia, New Zealand, and it was pretty exciting. I created brand and I protected brand. So I'm really into that brand thing.
I love that.
What happened to both of us is we were newly married and we found ourselves unemployed. And we didn't want to start all over again in corporate America. And we'd had a big life event that made us realize we could change how older teen girls could be treated in recovery homes.
Yeah, and I want to get into that story a little bit, but first, Frank, I got a picture here I'm going to share. I know it's a little embarrassing to see that, but you got a big smile on your face now. But in that picture, I see a smile, but I know there's something going on behind the scenes. So tell us what's going on in that picture.
Look at me. After 35, you get it, G. 34 years, I gave my blood, sweat, and tears. I was one of the top producers. I was a major auctioneer. Major producer of new accounts, and this is shortly after Sherri kind of got downsized, and I got a call from my boss, and he says, Frank, I got some good and bad news for you. I said, boss, what's the good news? He says, Frank, I'm going to give you a 1-year salary severance. I said, and full benefits. I said, well, what's the bad news? He says, well, we're laying off a lot of people and you're one of them. And I was shocked. I was stunned. When your regimen every day is to be a provider and got customers, and then it's gone, just away. And I want you to notice that picture. This is my last day. Had everything in a garbage bag heading for the door, but I was looking for the goodbye farewell cake, the balloons, the party and the confetti and hey, thanks for everything, Frank. So anyway, that guy, most of my life during that career, I was proud. I was, a good provider. I felt good about myself, but I'll tell you that day I was embarrassed. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I said, Sherri, what in the world are we going to do?
I know so many people can relate to what you just shared. Is maybe a different circumstance, different time frame, but the reality of somebody else having control over your life and you hitting that wall and that realization. I always tell people when they say to me, I got laid off, got let go, I say, great, congratulations. And they look at me like I'm crazy. But I got to ask you, at that moment in time, what was in your gut? What were you feeling? Fear or joy?
Both fear and joy, because that's all I knew. I thought, the harder you work, the luckier you get. But I learned lately that the smarter you are, the luckier you get. But I did have an amazing wife, newly married, who was always optimistic, a visionary. And we put our vision together and we came up with something.
I love that. Now, before we get into what you came up with, Sherri, he had a chance to share his. I don't have a cool picture to show in your background, but there was a point where your job hit the wall too. Sherri?
Yeah, I'm in Seattle, and I helped co-found multiple biotech companies that got very, very big. So I finally stayed with one long enough to have my $500,000 stock options vest. And I walked into the office one day. We had 90 employees, had a blood test for lung cancer. We thought, this is it. I'm retiring. No, FDA turned us down. And I was told our 90 employees staff is going down to 10. And I was lucky I could keep my job because I was a patent counsel, as long as I took a 50% cut in pay. And they said, by the way, we really are bankrupt. So we don't know how long you'll be here. Wow. So it showed me that it doesn't matter how much education you have, how much drive you have, how hard you work. You have to be in control of your destiny, your life, your $10,000 a month.
I love that. You just said something. You have to be in control of your destiny and your life, but sometimes things happen where we're kind of out of control. And, I share that because right after that happened to you guys, you went where?
We went to Las Vegas.
Yeah, baby. You went there to see these guys, right? That's why you went to Las Vegas.
We decided, since we've gone from two somewhat high incomes down to 50% of something and I put out the door, we should go see the Pawn Stars.
I was re-looking at her wedding ring, wondering how much we might get for it.
And that's this picture, right? You're looking at it saying, okay, what can we do? Let's have some fun. But, but life throws us curveballs, and it's you guys laugh a lot, which is fun. And I love that about you two. But something came at you and you dealt with it. You're innovating, but life came at you as well. And this is where I want to kind of segue into it. By the way, this is a picture of how long had you been going together? Were you married at this time?
We were married less than a year.
There you go.
Middle-aged people watching our jobs go down the drain, and we're married less than a year.
At least you got married in Hawaii, so that's pretty good too.
Well, a little bit impulsive 5 weeks after we met.
5.5 weeks, because when we met, I always have a burning desire to serve less fortunate people, and I would feed people who are sleeping on the streets of Seattle. And then after we started dating, I noticed a picture on her refrigerator when she would actually go to Africa and serve precious children. Wow. And so here we go. We have a marriage between two people who have a burning desire to make the world a better place. And that made a good partnership with them.
And it's, how do you do that?
Yeah.
We get a chance to reinvent ourselves, but how do we do that?
So there it is. And I know you all want to hear the rest of that story. They'll share it with you when you guys meet in person. But I want to segue here because Sherri, you had a situation in your life and you created a foundation from that is known today as the Kate's House Foundation. And it's named after somebody and something very impactful and important to you. So I'd like you to just, if you don't mind, share with people who are listening in the next few minutes the story about how and why you got started with doing shared housing.
So I spent my life in school. No question. I thought that would give me financial security. Part of that was I had a child with disabilities, and I wanted to be able to always, keep her, safe. And I want to also share how Moscow, Russia had such an impact on my life. So my child with disabilities is now a teen. I'm finishing up a hard-earned PhD at University of Washington Medical School. 4 months from graduation, I got a call from the kids. They said, Mom, we have a proposition you can't refuse. And I don't know where you were in 1999. That was about Y2K, and the world was coming to an end. But if you think back, newspapers had articles about the orphans of Russia, and they were bringing them over in plane loads. And my older kids wanted us to be a host family. And I'm thinking, how can this be? One's 12, one's 16. I'm beyond raising babies. And they brought a little girl over named Maria Katerine. This is Kate. Kate was 6 at the time that we received her. Now she's 8. And Kate was amazing, an amazing child. She was underweight at the time, but she was such a talented violinist. She had everything going for her, and this attitude of embracing life. And one of the things I knew about Kate early on is that both her mom and her grandma were alcoholics and addicts. But I believed, as life always plays tricks on us, my doctorate is actually in this area, but I believed with, good food, good everything, Kate would be fine. She would outgrow this. I was incredibly naive. I've just found out that 32 million children over the age of 12 are using illegal drugs each month. That's happening right now. Well, Kate joined them. From the time Kate was 12 to the time she was 23, she was in and out of treatment and recovery and sober homes and hospitals, and anything I could think of to help Kate, I did, because it's my child. And I know a lot of you can relate because you know somebody, or you have somebody in your family, a parent, grandparent, child, or a friend who struggles with addiction. And when I say addiction, it's alcohol use too. In fact, it's 70% of people we know have this. Yeah, 70%. And it's in my family, and I'm now a single mom, and I have this child, and I have this disabled child, and it's like I want to do the best for everybody. But no matter what I did for Kate, they have shown that if somebody has quality sober housing following treatment for at least 6 months, they don't go back. Statistically, quality sober housing works. So I kept taking Kate to sober housing. But what I found is it was unregulated. It was the wild, wild west. They'd put her on the curb in 15 minutes for any indiscretion, including not doing her chores. And then she would disappear into homelessness. Jean, next slide.
Yep.
I want you to meet Kate at 23. So we've done this for 11 years. The guy she's with is a good guy. He's my son's best friend from 4th grade. Kate had called and told me she was stuck 2 hours away in a home with somebody using heroin. Hadn't seen her in 6 months. So like every single time I went and found Kate and got her a haircut and bought her coffee and bought her some clothes. And this time she wanted to go home with me. As we were driving home, I asked her the question that I didn't want to have an answer for because I knew what the answer was. I said, Kate, you've been gone so long. Are you using heroin too? And she said, yes. And I was horrified. I was horrified how things had degenerated so much. I took her to another hospital. She disappeared again. And then she popped up in San Diego. And so long distance, I'll never forget. Done this like any parent, you never give up. Found a home online, and they agreed to take her even though she was still using drugs, and they didn't throw her out, and they removed housing insecurity. And I'd never seen that before. I'd only seen the model that anybody who made a mistake was out in 15 minutes. There she is 3 weeks later. She's never gone back. She's never gone back. She's smiling. That was the first time in 11 years I had smiled like that. And I was shocked, but it told me this is all happening at the same time we're losing our jobs. And we're looking at our life and we said, we need to have meaning in our life. And housing is the difference. And could we be the Nordstroms of housing? Could we buy homes in expensive Seattle? Could we create a program and standards to help everybody, to help all of these children? Next slide. I want you to meet Dustin. Dustin would not exist without that housing. And Dustin does carry the genes, but we honestly believe, since Kate is now cured of addiction and doing great, just talked to her tonight, Dustin will escape what Kate couldn't escape, what took us 11 years.
Thank you for sharing that. It's so powerful when you see it with real people, real pictures, real time, real world. And when you shared that 70% of all of us, everybody who's listening, knows somebody, or you're related to them, or you know them that has some connection to this, it's a real challenge, but it's also an opportunity, and our investments do define us. So Sherri and Frank, thanks so much. I'm going to invite you back in a little bit. I want you to share a little bit more if you don't mind. That'd be great. But for those of you that are listening right now, you heard the reason why and what came out of that. I met Frank and Sherri about 5-6 years ago. We were at an event together. They were hearing what I do, and I was hearing what they do. They went off and they did it. And for the next 4 or 5 years, become very successful in this shared housing model. They've created a formula, and this formula itself is being used right now to teach people how to open up homes successfully across the country using the shared housing model and this formula. Now, that's why the Shared Housing Academy was created, to train people just like you who are looking for not only increased income, but to have impact in your investing, where you can do it with a single family home in a residential setting. And I know you have 1,000 questions, and that's what that additional training is all about. I want to introduce this to you right now. Some of you think of a fishbowl. You're in a fishbowl with a lot of people doing the same thing: buy and hold, fix and flip, wholesale, all of that. Maybe you have to just get in a different fishbowl where the opportunity is even bigger, and you're the one. You're the one. Because I know there's a lot of people out there freaking out about evictions and moratoriums and all of that. It's out of control in our country. Not for us at Shared Housing. It doesn't even apply. Housing prices are up, taxes are up, and it's making life difficult for real estate investors. Not for us with the Shared Housing Academy. Or tenants who trash your home and disrespect you and just don't care. Not for us with the Shared Housing Academy and this formula. Trouble collecting rent or not getting paid at all? Not for us, because we know exactly where the money's coming from. This is a true opportunity where you can have certainty you're at the right place at the right time. I want to share with you the vision. Those 70 million people need help. There's an opportunity to help them and to do good and do very well financially. In that vision itself, it's a big problem that we're looking at. And I'm going to break it down for you a little bit because I think it's important, just like with Kate, that we have real names, real faces, real people. Some of you know people in your life, but some of you aren't quite sure, is this even real? Housing insecurity. Well, let me give you some numbers, and I'm just going to break down a few categories and stats for you. Here's the first one. 4.7 million veterans have service-related disabilities, and they're eligible for housing benefits and supported housing. 4.7 million veterans. Again, they're eligible for this help, this housing. Less than 30% disability, less than 30% disability, 29%. 30 to 50% disability, about 20%. 60% or more, 41%. These people need help. There's a huge opportunity there. Let's talk about prisons. When we talk about the prisons themselves, 48% of those that are incarcerated are there for a drug offense. 48%. 48% of federal prisons are incarcerated for nonviolent crimes related to drugs. And I got it. They broke the law. They need to be there. I understand, but do they need to be there? The prisons themselves are overcrowded, and we all know that in this past year, thousands and thousands of prisoners were released into the community to go back to home. But with clean and sober homes, like the ones that Frank and Sherri create and teach others how to create as well, now there's a place for them. There's over 7 million people in the justice system right now, and 3.7 million of them are on probation. Many of them need a housing solution as well. Autism in adulthood. It's much bigger than I ever imagined. When people were asking me the question time and time again, I started to do some research. And what I found out is there's over 22 million non-elderly adults who have disabilities, whether it be ASD of any kind, but autism and some kind of developmental disability of some kind. But if they outlive their parents, imagine being a parent where you know that your child is going to be mentally 10 or 8 or 12, and they're going to outlive you by decades. Who's going to care for them? Where are they going to live? How's this going to happen? The Shared Housing Academy is the solution. Right now, $3.2 million is the price tag of what it takes to take care of somebody who has autism over a lifetime. It's a lot of money. So to do good and do well, there is money available. As a matter of fact, 49% of people with disabilities of those types live at home with the family. 41% live in a group home or institution, and only 10% live independently. That means 90% of these people, 22 million of them, are going to grow up, more than likely outlive their parents and have to figure it out. They're going to be in a group home, but they can't live with their family if they passed away. There's a huge need, huge opportunity. And let's go to this one. 32 million children ages 12 to 18 used illegal drugs within the last 30 days. 32 million. Might be something as innocent as cough syrup. Next thing you know, it's stepped up. Next thing you know, it's let's go to a party. Next thing you know, it's let's try something more, something different. It can go on and on and on. 32 million. We all know the big issues, Oxycontin and all of that, but there's other things too. And right now throughout the United States, there is national accreditation for homes, but that's not the norm. The norm right now in this industry is get a home, load it with people, let them figure it out and fight it out. And that's not what we do. That's not the shared housing formula. As a matter of fact, you can see the green states right there are ones that have national accreditation required or at least available in those states. The blue states are coming and the gray states, well, they'll be coming right after that. So when I say accreditation, this is important. You can do anything. You can do your own dental work. You could probably do your own brain surgery. YouTube University, figure it out. But if you want to be accredited, you want to do it right, and you want to have access to, get this, billions, not millions, billions of dollars in federal money to pay for the housing and to provide that housing and care, well, you do need to be certified. The National Alliance for Recovery Residences, the NARR, is that certifying body. And I have some really, really good news for you. You'll see Frank and Sherri off to the right there. They are part of writing the rules, understanding this from the inside out, helping to create the right environments. And they were invited to be a part of writing the rules and creating this because of how well they've done with their Kate's House Foundation, creating that solution where law enforcement is referring people to them. All kinds of entities are. And now they announce all the time, but another announcement just came out. Billions of dollars are being released to help house all kinds of people in shared housing. But in order to get your piece, your part of that, you must be certified and understand the formula from the inside out. Frank and Sherri were the first ones to be certified in the entire state of Washington with their 4 homes. Now they have 6 homes. Now, when I say the 5 steps to the shared housing formula, I'm going to lay this out for you, but understand Frank and Sherri are going to show this to you in great detail. Number 1, purchase a single family home in the right area. So where is the right area? What's important? What to look for? Where to do it? Where not to do it? The right location, and then not renting it out by the entire house, but by the bed. Step 2, determine which community you'll focus on and serve. I shared with you 10 different opportunities, veterans all the way down to temporary housing for workers. What community are you going to focus on to serve? The 3rd step, identifying the government agencies that will pay to house that community if appropriate. You don't have to focus on or accept money from government agencies. They've appropriated billions of dollars and make it available to you, but you can also do it with private pay if you'd like. There are upscale luxury shared housing solutions for all kinds of groups that are paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars per person per month in a shared housing environment. Step 4, get certified and qualified so you can be paid by those government organizations. And step 5, just to give you a bit of the formula, let's say you average 8 residents and each one of them is you're collecting $700, $800, $900, $1,000 a month or more per person. That's part of the formula. Now we're going to go through that, and I want you to see it with some real dollars, because I know some of you are saying, well, how much money can I make? I know there's 70 million people that need a solution, but how much money can I make? Well, first of all, I want to ask you this simple question. How much do you need? How much do you need to pay for your life? The house, the car, the kids, the food, the fun? What's your number? Go ahead and write it down. Write it down right now. If you had X number of dollars, whatever your number is, appear in your bank account on the 1st of every month, how much would you need to pay for the house, the car, the kids, the food, the fun? Add it all up. Now, most people who are listening right now probably could squeeze by on $10,000 a month. Now, when I say $10,000 a month, if you live in San Jose, that's considered low income. Truly, it is. If you live in Mississippi, well, you're the governor, right? So it is different for different folks, but $10,000 probably hits 80%, 90% of the people listening. So if you could squeeze by, if $10,000 appeared in your bank account each and every month, well, how are we going to get it? What are we going to do? If we just take a single family home that rents for $1,700 and we're collecting $200 at the end of the month after all expenses, how many of those homes would we need in order to pay all of our bills to get to that $10,000, that formula itself? When you think about it, one home, got it. I'm going to need at least 5, got it. Well, how many do you really need to get to that 10,000? 50 of them. 50 times 200. And that's 50 water heaters, if not more. That's 50 problems waiting to happen. That's probably 150 kids. It's probably at least 50 dogs and 38 cats. And it's 50 homes as long as somebody doesn't trash the home on the way out or leave it vacant. Tenants, toilets, and turnovers, the 3 T's. Been there, done that, guys. I understand it. This is in a perfect world. You get your $200 times 50, you got your 10,000. But let's think differently. Let's think the shared housing formula. Same house, but instead of renting it out to one family, we rent it out by the bedroom. And now we're bringing in $6,000 per month. Our expenses are a little bit higher, but our profit is significantly higher. Instead of 200, it's 4,000. Well, Gene, are those numbers for real? Yeah, they are. I'm going to show you two examples in just a moment. But first, 4 homes can absolutely fund your freedom when you're doing the shared housing formula. 4 homes times 4,000. Most of you can live very comfortably on that. And there's no reason to stop. You're only helping 32 people at this point. Can you help more? There's 70 million more people that need that help and that assistance. So let me give you the first example. We shared with you about Kate's House Foundation, wonderful organization. So Kate's House Foundation, house number 1, here's what the numbers look like. 400,000 all in to buy it, because I figured you want to know what did it cost to buy the house, how big of a house, etc. 400 all in to buy it, do some renovations on it. Let's just say it was a 20% down payment. That would be pretty normal in a rental property. That's an $80,000 down payment. $7,200 per month in income. Where does that come from? 9 residents in their first home times $800 each, $7,200 potential gross income. What are the expenses on that first home? $2,700. So $2,700 PITI, principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, utilities, maintenance. That leaves $4,500 of potential income from that property, $54,000 a year. Now, if you invest $80,000 and make $54,000, well, that's a very nice rate of return, 60, 70%. Now, that $80,000, you didn't have to use your own money. They're going to share with you ways that you can do it with or without your own money. But how many of those homes would you need to fund your freedom? Some of you are saying, Gene, if I had 2 homes that made me $54,000 a year, it's all I need. Some are saying I need 3. Some of you are saying I could do 1,000 of those homes all over the world, because all of these issues are not just US based. Those numbers are that I gave you, but you can do this anywhere in the world. Kate's House 2, to show you it wasn't just a fluke on the first one. Here's the house. It's in a suburban neighborhood right here, and here's the numbers. $7,650 a month income. So 9 times 850, a little bit higher. You're not full all the time, but in this case with the asterisk, if you had a contract with the government, a contract with the state, that whether somebody is in the home or not, they're paying the $850 anyway, would that be valuable to learn? Yeah. Frank and Sherri are going to share that with you. The expenses there, $2,650, a little bit less. The profit from that home, $5,000 or $60,000 a year. 1 home, 2 homes. How many homes do you need? How many homes do you want? If each home netted you $3,000 to $5,000 a month, and we're not talking you're working in the home, you're not a caregiver, it's none of that. These are not elderly individuals. These are people who are in a home that you're providing, and nobody else will. The rent itself could be paid for by them, but lots of times is paid for by the state, by the government. The government has billions of dollars that they've collected from us to give to people. You may as well be part of that receiving by providing a wonderful solution. Now, when you think about the game of Monopoly, Frank and Sherri, they started with 2 homes. Now they've got 9 homes altogether. But it's just like that. There's some less expensive homes. There's more expensive homes. And the more you have, the easier it is to take care of. You can do them all in one area. You can spread it around and do it all over the country, all over the world. It's like a game. And once you understand the game and the rules of the game, well, then you can expand. Here's Kate's House 3, right across the street, the beige home. But right on the right-hand side is Kate's House number 4. Right across the street, even in a cul-de-sac, in this case, sharing a driveway, Kate's House 3 and 4. Kate's House 5, well, Frank and Sherri learned a secret, how to control the house without even owning it, coming up with very little money out of pocket, if any at all, to be able to generate those kinds of income. Because right now, real estate is up. It may be cheaper to rent that house than it is to buy and own that house. Kate's House 5, they learned a secret. They'll share those details with you. And Kate's House 6, oh man, they learned another secret about buying in the right area for the right reasons, regardless of what you do with that property. Now, they're going to share all of those secrets and a whole lot more, like, what about a 501c3? They have a nonprofit. Should I? Could I? What would that look like? How would I do it? They're going to share that secret with you as well. But I do want to invite Sherri back on and Frank back on, but I'd love to have you share a little bit about the story here about Michelle. because this picture right here is a fun picture to see, but the story behind it, there you go. Thanks. We can see and hear the story behind this, and Michelle right here. I'd love to have you share that a little bit with us. And then after that, there's a video, and it's a video of Michelle sharing the after they've lived in Kate's house, and after Frank and Sherri were working with Michelle, how it changed her life and how she's now part of the solution as well. But go ahead and share a little bit about Michelle, if you would, Sherri.
I would like you to meet Michelle. Michelle had it all. She was in her mid-30s, mom of this wonderful young man. She was running a real estate firm. Michelle was a stressed out single mom and had trouble sleeping. So she went to her physician and he prescribed Ambien, simple sleeping pill, but a highly addictive sleeping pill. And Michelle became addicted, didn't even realize when she had her son strapped in the car coming home from school that she went through a crosswalk and killed somebody. She found out the next day when she was in jail. She lost everything. She spent 4 years in prison. When we met her, it was early on. We've now housed hundreds of people, hundreds of men and women. But when we met Michelle, she hadn't seen her son in 5 years, and he was in the car with her parents. And I said, it must be wonderful to be with your son again. And she said, I'm not good enough for him. He's better off being somewhere else. And I'd like you to hear Michelle in her own words after she's lived with us.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm 37 years old. I have been a resident at Kate's house for almost 1.5 years now. I moved here the day that I was released from work release. I did 4 years and 5 months in the institution, the women's penitentiary, and I cannot even begin to say how incredibly appreciative I am for Kate's Place and the houses and Frank and Sherri for everything that they've done, not just for me, but for my family and for all the girls that have come after me. For Frank and Sherri and Kate's Place, it's more than just transitional living, clean and sober living, a house for disadvantaged women. It's safety, it's base, it's your castle, it's your home, it's your nest. I'm a grown woman doing my own things, paying my own bills without assistance from anybody else. I'm not living with my family. I'm living in a shared living environment with other women that are also paying rent, you know? So it builds this confidence and this security that, girl, you got this. You know, we get it that you're out here struggling and it's gonna be rough and you're gonna have some times that you need to take, but we got you. Whether you've fallen down and you need to get picked back up, or we just need to give that little push to get you to the next step. Frank and Sherri and Kate's Place have done that the entire time, and without them, I would not be able to attest to the things that I've accomplished today.
It's so powerful to see.
Hi, I'm Michelle.
I have to ask you, this is Michelle the day she got off probation with her son. Today she's managing a restaurant. She's actually has a penthouse apartment in West Seattle. She's raising that young man, and her confidence is back. And she's everything she was before. People make mistakes, things happen. Wouldn't you like to be the type of person who could own real estate, who could own a home and make it available to somebody like Michelle? We're so glad we did.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that, because I think Michelle really makes it real. We're looking at her picture there with her son, and a lot of times we think about others who have a need and it's not personal. These are real people. It could have been me, could have been you, could have been anyone in any one of our families. And I just think it's wonderful, not only what Frank and Sherri did for them, but what they're continuing to do. One of the really cool things is Michelle now comes back to help assist with some of the new residents in the homes and paying it forward in that cycle. You saw the beautiful home in the background, by the way. That was one of the Kate's House homes. So at this point, I know we've shared a lot with you, and I know you have a lot of questions. And, can I do this? And what about HOAs? And what about if I'm new to real estate investing? And can I lease the home if I don't own it? Can I live in it while we're doing this? And what happens if the resident doesn't work out? What are the neighbors going to think? And what about cities and zoning? Deep breath, deep breath. We're going to answer all of those questions for you. And I told you at the very beginning that we're going to give you a huge opportunity, and this is the time. So I want you to get ready, and I'm going to be very, very clear with you. I didn't tell Don and Kendall this, but there's a huge bonus that I'm going to be offering to people that take action here tonight, but I'm going to limit that to 10 people. So if you want to get involved, this will be your opportunity. And when I say want to get involved, you see all of these people here who said, yes, I want to be a part of the solution. Yes, I want to join the mission, because we are on a mission. We do want to help, but we need your help in order to do that. We can't do it all. We can't do it everywhere, but with your help, we can absolutely make an impact. Now, Frank and Sherri have trained over 500 people across the country to do exactly this, to create shared housing solutions for all kinds of people. In the old days, we had to do it face-to-face in person. And what we've got coming up is an incredible opportunity to do a virtual training. So every single one of you can participate from the comfort of your own home. No excuse about I got to fly in or get a hotel or can't travel right now for whatever reason. You can do it from your own home, just like you're doing this presentation. It's a 3-day immersion class where they teach you everything that you need to know step by step. And in that class, what you're going to learn is the best opportunities for shared housing in any area. In addition, the secrets to using a 501c3. In addition, how to determine if a property is right for shared housing, how to attract investors. And I've got something to share with you on that. So you can do this with or without your own money. How to find the right team so that you're not doing all the work. You're part of a team and they're leading that team. And how to fill your home quickly and keep it full. And how to get government contracts to pay for those residents. There are billions of dollars available right now. In addition to that, how to do it all with or without your own capital, and how to be up and running in just a few months' time. So that's what you'll learn at that training itself. And that training, this 3-day shared housing training, is $5,000 to attend. Well, Gene, why is it so much? Because we're looking for the right people, not just for people who are saying I'm in it for the money, but people who are there for the right reason, who want to help people, who want to be part of that mission. Now, I already told you at the very beginning, we're going to give you an incredible opportunity. So let's start with this first piece. Number one, a discount for taking action, for being a part of the solution. This is needed, and a $2,000 discount is where this begins. That makes it $29,997. And by the way, if you have a partner or spouse, we highly encourage them and you to let them attend. They can sit right over your shoulder and watch and learn and listen too. This may be the first time that those people, your spouse or business partner, said, you know what, this one I get. This one makes sense to me. Maybe it's a personal family connection, whatever it may be. We're looking for the right people. So again, no additional cost for your partner or kids or parents or brother, sister. They're watching over your shoulder. They're participating with you. We want them to be there so they can help support you. But I'm going to give you a special code. 2 things, and I encourage you to write it down right now. The website is SHA3day.com. SHA3day.com. And use the code word protect. When I say use the code word protect, you put in that code word, hit apply. And what that does for you, it gives you a $1,000 additional discount. We're only doing this for Don's group right here. What I'm about to share with you, that $1,000 discount makes that $29,997, $19,997. Now, that is huge, but I need to make sure you understand that code is going to be good for 24 hours. 24 hours or 10 people with what I'm about to share with you. Now, when I say 24 hours or 10 people, the second piece is the Pitchmasters Academy online course. We just got done with the 2-day training for preparing to pitch to raise capital. People paid up to $5,000 to attend that training. The Pitchmasters Academy online training showing you how to raise capital, how to get prepared, how to present, all of those things that you'll need for anything, anytime you're raising capital. That's an additional bonus given to you. So again, not $49,997, it's reduced to $19,997 for those who take action right now. That code word protect is good for the next 24 hours or the first 10 people. So we're going to find out which one comes first, but I got an idea those 10 are going to go very fast. So literally go right now to SHA3day.com. Make sure to use the code word protect, hit the enter key. It will reduce it by $1,000, making it $19,997. And as I said, as our gift to you, you're also going to receive the Pitchmasters Academy online training. There's over 20 different sections, and the event that we just did was recorded, will be added onto that as well. And that's our gift to you. I want you to be able to get the capital you need to do the things that you need to do. And by the way, the online course itself is $2,997. That's a gift to you for taking action right now. So use the code, get $1,000 discount, making it $19,997. That code expires in 24 hours from now. In addition to that, you're also going to receive the Pitchmasters Academy online course. That is now available to you as an additional bonus. Now is the time to take action on that. Now, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to invite Frank and Sherri back on. We're going to do a little bit of Q&A. And during this Q&A, if you have some questions, I want you to go ahead and type those in. We'll take the questions, they'll give a response, and we'll go from there. But don't hesitate. I know that some of you are watching this right now and saying, is this right for me? The answer is you take that next step. The training itself, by the way, is coming up in May. I believe it's the third weekend in May. It's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. If you can't make that one, we'll get you in the next one. If we fill up, which we do, you are literally the first group, by the way, for us to be promoting this to. You're it. After this is going to go to others. It will fill up. So this is your opportunity. That third weekend in May, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be virtually. It's online. And you only need to do one thing. SHA3day.com. Make sure to use the code word protect, PROTECT. Hit the enter key, get the discount, and also our gift to you for taking action here, the first 10 people. You'll get that $29,995, that $3,000 Pitchmasters Academy course. You'll have access to that as well. So Frank and Sherri, come on back on if you don't mind. We'll do a little Q&A right now. I'm going to see if I can cue that up. Thank you for hanging out and being with us right here.
Thank you.
Wow, Gene, that was a great presentation.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate you guys sharing your message and the purpose behind this. Thank you, Kendall, for putting that right in there, the SHA3day.com and the code word protect. But if you don't mind, put in the chat right now, and you can do it to everyone. Go ahead and type in a question if you have one for Frank and Sherri. We'll go ahead and read those questions and take them as we go along. Frank and Sherri, while we're waiting for that, there's a lot of people here online, and I'm sure many of them are trying to get those first 10. So they're logged in right there. But if you have something that you wanted to share, with people to kind of give them a little more insight, feel free to do that.
Well, what we found is we teach, as one part of the training, national accreditation standards, and people are able to get their homes up and running pretty quickly. In fact, some people are repurposing a rental, kind of letting the lease expire and putting it into shared housing for that higher return. We've had a significant number of students opening up veterans housing, and the sober living accreditation standards actually work for any type of housing. It's a roadmap.
I love that. Kendall, I can tell there's questions going into the Q&A portion, and I don't have access to that. So if you don't mind, go ahead and you can read those questions off, and we'll make sure we've got it.
Yeah, I'll do that for you.
Oh, thanks,
Okay.
Don.
So first question is, who runs the house? How are the houses managed?
So that's a really good question. What we found early on is that somebody always steps up to be a house leader. And we give a minor discount in the fee for that person. It's usually somebody who's had a lot of experience, can afford to live independently, and also wants the support of the other members of the home. So it's not been a challenge. We are actually in Florida right now. Our homes are in Seattle with 52 people, and everything's running very smoothly.
one of the other things I think is really important, and it's until the people come to the training, they won't quite get this, but you guys have house rules, and those house rules that you created are pretty magical, because that's what really helps in so much, by having a set of rules that people adhere to, with basically a zero tolerance policy. So the management is relatively easy because of the house rules you've created.
I'd like to pitch in real quick because, again, if let's say you spend time in prison, it's important that you understand the type of people we get in our houses are very, very grateful. Because if you are in the prison and you work really hard to get an early release, I mean, you've done everything you've done, you got your GED, some get college degrees, and you've earned early release, saving the state of Washington $79,000 a year. And then you usually go to 6 months of work release. And then you go to work every day, you come back and you're in custody. But then by earning early release, that's great. But who do you release to? The same bad neighborhood, the same tough area, right? So they're grateful to come to our house, and they love taking care of the house. In fact, if the day ever comes when you can come actually tour our houses, you'll see very immaculate, clean houses. So these people, we try to tell, it's not Animal House, it's not crazy. These are people who, yes, they stubbed their toe when they were doing something really dumb, oftentimes, but we enjoy our residents. We treat them with dignity, we treat them with care, and I'll tell you, we get texts all the time on how grateful they are that we're able to provide their house. And in that kind of environment, you can focus on getting even better. You can get off supervision. Our greatest day is when people actually, the women get their children back, everybody gets off supervision, or they graduate from drug court.
But you're right about the house rules, Gene. The house rules are essential. It's a roadmap that we created from day one. And our house rules are pretty bulletproof. And it's kind of a training for people on how to live in community.
Yeah. And I know, and we've got a lot of questions coming in we're going to go to. I also know that you two focus on clean and sober, but you have students who are doing veterans, foster care, Golden Girls. I mean, you name it and they're doing it. So great job. What's our next question there, Don?
It's very similar. Doesn't there need to be a house manager or a caregiver who does the shopping and the cleanup? And
you know what? They're so used to residential assisted living, right? This is a lot easier. Go for it.
Yep. Everybody shops for themselves. We have women in particular, who are building high rises in downtown Seattle at $40 an hour. They have their own cars. They're just looking for a place to find mutual support and live in community. Housing's outrageously expensive in our neck of the woods. And to be able to live in a really nice home in community, people have chore lists and they manage the chores themselves. It takes very little effort on our part, because again, we developed a roadmap for how this works.
You got it.
Okay, so what about parking then? Do we need, if you get 8 residents, do they have 8 cars that we have to find parking for?
Those are wonderful questions, because what we really focus on is the right house. And a big part of our success is having a good neighbor policy, because when you talk to people who will understand what we do, they're oftentimes a little iffy, but we always buy a house with lots of off-street parking. And we have enough houses where if a couple people buy a car and there's not a spot for them, we have a house down the street with off-street parking. So every little detail, you want your neighbors to look at your house and just see the best lawn in the neighborhood. You want to see that American flag flying. You don't want to see visitors coming and going at night. And again, remember that 70% rule. 70% of everyone knows someone who's struggling. So guess what? The same goes for all those neighbors. And those neighbors actually love and embrace us. And I'll tell you why, because we are helping solve America's biggest problem. We are healing people left and right, but they don't have the consequence of that trap house or that animal house. Get it? So actually we are loved by our neighbors.
Go for it, Don. If you get some that are similar, feel free to combine them a little bit. So we'll
I certainly will. How long does it take to get in our accreditation? And thank you for sharing your story. They had.
So I think it can be in as little as 2 to 3 months. A big part of it is the paperwork, and we put together the entire packet. And actually, major part of it is the house rules. And our house rules mirror NAR accreditation standards. So as part of the class, we spend an extensive amount of time, describing how the NAR standards lead to an appropriate home for shared housing.
I actually inspect for the affiliate for NAR in the state of Washington houses, and it's really not difficult. It's like any other, hotel. You have your safety devices. But what I really enjoy about the NAR accreditation is fiduciary responsibility. And so you don't have people in there, how do you say, just being above board with the finances.
Now, I know when Frank says it's really not that difficult, keep in mind, you've got two people here who help write the rules, one who does inspections for them. For Frank and Sherri, it's a walk in the park. They've done it before, but that's why you need the training to be able to know exactly what to do and how to get it done.
Yeah, Gene, I got poked in the rib for that one.
I just wanted to make sure they knew, because for us, I can say standing up and doing something is easy, and others look at it and go, I can't do that. We'll show you how.
We have brought many people through it.
Yep.
I sit on the state board that advises the governor's office.
Go for it, John. What do you got next?
Yeah. Teresa's asking.
Actually, before you do that, I will let you know we've had 4 people sign up. So those of you who are saying, oh, I'm going to wait until, you better sign up right now, because we've already had 4. I just wanted to say that. Go for it.
Teresa's asking, do you need safety measures like sprinklers, fire alarms, locks, etc., like an RAL home?
No, just typical smoke alarms that you'd have in a single family home. But we put fire extinguisher under the sink, but you do not need sprinkler systems. We just buy traditional single family homes.
Okay.
And we do that we love to buy single family homes with street appeal, because if for some reason something went wrong, and even though nothing has gone wrong for us in 5 years and 6 homes.
Well, don't share all your secrets yet. We're going to share those later. Hold on to those secrets. Frank wants to go right into the training. I know.
There's a million things to learn.
Since there's 2 of you, when Don asks a question, one of you pick it and you answer it.
That's going to pull the plug on me.
22 questions lined up, and we've only got another 15 or 12 minutes to make it happen. So,
okay, Ollie is asking, how do you get accreditation in the state of Alaska? I noticed they're gray on your U.S. map.
So Congress has appropriated millions of dollars in the past 2 years and requested NAR have each state go to accreditation standards. So even if it's not accredited now, Washington State wasn't when we started Recovery Homes. It soon will be. But one thing to keep in mind is a lot of people that we get just aren't from our state. So we do a lot of older people who are coming from other states, and they're picking us because we're on the accreditation, we're accredited. And so, yeah, I would use the same standards. I would use the same roadmap, and then you're ready when it happens.
love that.
Okay. How are you able to find affordable housing in the hot Seattle market? Tough question.
It's creative financing. When we did our first house, it was an old daycare center that we rehabbed, and we learned a lot about making any house work for shared housing. And we've made so many steps along the way that we can usually walk in and with a offer that says we can close it in 48 hours. And we do have those lenders in our back pocket that we can share during the training.
Okay. Debbie is saying that the code protect, Jane, is not working.
I just tested it. It worked for me. So make sure it's all capitals, PROTECT, and then hit the apply button. You have to all caps and hit the
All
apply
caps.
button. I just
All
tested it myself. I wanted to make sure. So it's working, and 5
All
other
right.
people figured it out. So 5 other people are already in. I keep checking my phone. That's how I see things.
All right. Thank you. That was probably the cap thing. More direct, Jeff. Who does the repairs when something breaks?
We've tried a variety of ways. One, we hired a handyman to be on call. We paid him X amount every month, like I think it was $400 a month. Mm-hmm. And we always say if there's a problem, call him right away. And then if there is a large project, he just bills us. But the last couple of years, we've had the most amazing resident live with us. He loves what we do. They are dedicated to us. He can fix anything, and he does it all, and he does it for free.
Yeah, and we have a woman right now painting the upstairs of one of our homes and doing a beautiful job. No, and also we have a significantly large government contract with the court system. Yeah. And the judges have said that they will give community service hours to anybody who does any work on our homes. So we always have somebody out there doing something.
Yeah, isn't that pretty cool? The state pays for them to live there. They give them encouragement, incentive to work on your house. Yeah. And then the people are appreciative when they're there and even want to stay and help the next person through. It's a really cool ecosystem.
Shelly is saying statistically, what percentage of your students, I think this is directed at you, Gene, are able to follow your model and have their own house?
When it comes to residential assisted living, just going there's so many more moving parts. A lot of the questions people are asking here, don't even apply. No sprinklers. I don't need this, don't need that. So Frank and Sherri, we had a training about a month ago. And since then, you've had a couple of students they're in contract for their first homes. Is that right?
We have a student with 2 really nice homes in Texas. They're closing mid-May. And completely furnished. When the folks who were selling it found out what they were doing, they are leaving all the brand new furniture. This is really high quality. We have another woman who took the training and thought it was so awesome that when her tenant's lease expired, it's a repurposed home. She's advertising right now in Ohio. Another person getting a house under contract in Wisconsin. Even though this is a real hot real estate market, there's a lot of ways to acquire real estate. And I think we've had probably 20 deals and we do higher end homes in the last 5 years. Yep. And they've all been creative.
And the whole key is when you have a high cash flow, Gene, it really changes the dynamic.
Sure does.
Yeah. You can afford a lot.
And sometimes we win the bid just because of what we're doing.
Yep. Love it.
All right. Debbie, if you put 8 people in a house, is there 8 bedrooms? Is there 8 bathrooms? How do you remodel the house to create additional bedrooms? We
don't like to remodel houses. We make a few cosmetic rehabs. We like the kitchens to be nice, the bathrooms to be nice. But really, when it comes to recovery housing, you want 2 beds in each bedroom, 2 beds in each bedroom. And that is accountability. And that's how that is.
And people expect that, so it's a 4-bedroom home. 2 beds, we decorate them nicely, or actually most of the time that people do. I never recognize the bedrooms when I go through because people are just buying additional things for them.
Okay, and number of bathrooms per bedroom?
We started out with 2, and now our favorite is at least 2.5. We like 3 toilets in each bathroom.
In each house.
I mean, in each house. 3 toilets in each house.
Except for the guys.
I got another punch in the chest here. 3 toilets in each house, and that works very well.
And the men are less picky.
All right.
Very
Tom,
true.
what's the situation with zoning and HOAs?
So, we've always tried to avoid HOAs, but our Colorado student that we had was putting houses in a neighborhood with HOAs, as was an Arizona student. Zoning, this is the best part. Fair housing law describes people in recovery from addiction, older people as a protected class. So we are protected by fair housing. There's a number of seminars we've attended on this. I've actually presented seminars for the state of Washington on fair housing law. And that really protects you too, because if you have a resident that isn't working out, fair housing also allows you to get them to rehome or move on.
And the other part of that too, and just to clear everybody in, our national association, the RALNA.org, we have attorneys on staff, and a lot of the same things that we deal with on residential assisted living, apply here for group homes and shared homes. So a lot of the same legal input that we've given you all access through the National Association apply to this, so they can help with that as well.
Okay. What's the average length of stay for your residents?
It can be a long time. So one of our county contracts, which pays us whether the bed is filled or not, their people are staying up to 2 years. We have some golden girls on disability, and they've been there for 5 years because people usually come and enjoy the community so much that they want to stay until they're ready to buy a house or get an apartment or move on.
Yeah.
Erin is saying, Gene, I did your class, just did Don's class on asset protection. Would love to see or know the difference between the two. And I'm not sure which two, because the RAL, the Shared Academy, and my class is tax and legal and all that boring legal stuff. But I assume he's probably talking between the RAL and the shared living.
Because we don't do anything on taxes or asset protection. That's why we have Don and his team. But with shared housing and assisted living, really, when you think about it, shared housing encompasses residential assisted living. That's one of the niches, if you will. But there's so many specific rules in assisted living for seniors that is very separate, only focused on that. What Frank and Sherri do is, here's everything else that can be done in a shared housing environment and how to work with the government entities. In assisted living, we don't typically work with government entities. I don't want to get $2,000 a month when I know I can get $4,000 on private. With Frank and Sherri, they actually want that $800 a month, $1,000 a month, because there's going to be 8 people and it's guaranteed by the government. So we're in the same house, we're just using it differently, and it's a different set of information. So there it is.
Okay,
And I think
Maria,
the other piece,
go ahead.
Go ahead, John. I was going to say the other piece is most of our people are independent. You know, they're working, they're visiting with family on weekends, you know, whereas our elder people are not going out.
A lot less independence there.
Yeah.
Got it. Marie, I have a large house. Is there a particular rehab, partitions, installation, anything needed? I think we've kind of covered that.
Yeah.
I think we're good on that.
Here's one of the advantages. Let me throw it out for shared housing. 2-story houses are not an issue at all. You know, with senior housing, 1-story, or you have to have chairlifts or elevators or keep bedrooms downstairs. Shared housing, none of that. You don't have the same, typically, depends on the state, sprinklers and fire suppression, et cetera. We still want people to be safe, but the key is the independence.
One of the things I've noticed with RAL is a lot of people have a house already and they're trying to make this fit, but maybe the location isn't right, or maybe the bedrooms are, maybe a lot of things aren't right, but they're trying to make it fit into this, you know, into your model. Are you finding the same things, or are you better to try to fit a house into the model, or do we just buy a house that has good location, that's close to a grocery store, that's
there you go.
Give me some ideas.
Yeah, would you two agree, Frank and Sherri, location is one of the most important pieces? Then from the size of the house, the homes that you're dealing with are average size homes. How many square feet? What's the range?
2,000 to 2,800, just typical single family home with good curb appeal.
So ours might be 2,500 to 8,000 square feet. You know, it's a bigger house with a lot more bathrooms, where yours is more of a normal, regular house within that neighborhood. And, 3 or 4 bedrooms with 2 bathrooms is adequate, but you're also going to potentially be able to charge more if you want to do more luxurious. It could be a mansion in Beverly Hills. You know what else is interesting, you guys? They asked the question, do we need cars to be able to park? And my thought is, if you're doing the clean and sober one, a lot of those people don't have their license anymore, right?
No, they don't.
The bus
Good
line.
point.
Yeah.
Very well said. Yes, we don't have that problem very often. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Carl is asking, what are the dates again for the 3-day?
It is May. And by the way, I think we're at 8 people right now, which is fantastic. So 2 more of those of you who are serious. The date coming up is May It's going to be the 21st, 22nd, 23rd. May 21st, 22nd, 23rd. It's actually right in the link that's in the chat right now. You can click on that link. It'll take you right there. And it's May 21, 2, 3.
But if they click on the link, are they committed? No, just there's more information on the link. There you go.
Exactly. But let me say this to you guys very clearly. If the date doesn't work, sign up anyway right now. Because again, the first 10, but also that huge bonus. I'm giving you a $3,000 access to the Pitchmasters to raise capital. It is get it for that bonus, if nothing else. We'll find the right class for you later in the year.
Okay, a few more questions. They keep coming in. Mario, could this work in New York City?
Interesting. Within the city itself?
That's the question.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm
Well, we
assuming
have a New York
Manhattan,
City-
Brooklyn, Bronx, whatever. Yeah.
But the
boroughs.
NAR recommends that they want people in recovery in residential and neighborhoods. You know, they don't want anything that looks institutional, and just they want people to feel middle class in a middle class neighborhood. That's a real big part of the self-esteem building and reintegrating.
But New York's a NAR state, so, and we did have a student out that way.
I think he meant
The-
Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, think upstate or Long Island, something where
Yeah.
you're
And
not,
absolutely, yeah.
not in tenements going this way, but more spread out this way. So upstate, Peekskill, something like that, you know, Westchester County, and then Long Island, that would be better.
Great. Are there additional costs at the end of training to complete the system?
Let me answer that one. When you say complete the system, we're going to share with you the system. They're going to answer all the questions and get you there. If your question is to get NAR certification, you're either going to have to do that yourself or hire somebody to do that. If you want help at the end of the training, Frank and Sherri can have that conversation with you. If you want more hand holding at the end of the training, they can have that conversation with you. But the training is designed to be specific and whole so that you can learn it, you can do it. But a lot of people do want their hand held and have some additional help and getting there faster. Let's face it, it's about speed, getting there faster.
Great. Tom, what type of insurance is required?
Well, that's the best part. So we just have traditional fire policies on our homes. So we're not paying extensive insurance. One thing we did do is developed a nonprofit. Now the homes are not in the name of the nonprofit, and that's something we would share how we do that at the training. But by having that nonprofit arm, we can have a generous umbrella policy on top of it, but it's not necessary. You just need a regular fire policy. It's just a single family rental.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Fern, will we learn residential assisted living in this class? No, they're separate classes.
Yeah, no.
And although some of the concepts may bleed over, but no, Fern, it's a different type of.
Yep.
You know, yeah.
That's why I didn't teach this myself, because I don't do it. These guys do. They're the experts in this. So we don't play in each other's playgrounds here. We just.
Anonymous, thank you, Candelario, for what you're doing. They're angels in my book. My question: how long do people stay in the houses? I think you answered that.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Can I quickly say though, people say, I'm off supervision, do I have to move out? We say, wait a minute, you're a wonderful resident. The neighbors love us. You're paying our mortgage. Why would we want you to move? We're just gonna go buy another house.
Yeah.
There you
Great.
go. Thank you for your inspiration and time. Rachel, I don't buy apartments with more units to be able to house more people. Don't you just buy apartments? Oh, I guess they're referring to the New York thing. Okay. Tom, if one of the government contracts is in place, do you have a choice or control on accepting of a new residence? Good question, Tom.
That's a really good question. So we do have a screening process, and we share our application at the training as well as our house rules, which are just crucial. But we do have discussions with anybody who is recommending a placement in our home, whether that person be appropriate. And we also have ongoing discussions. At this point, we're so large, we do have a person who is kind of keeps oversight on all 52 people. But we have ongoing discussions as to whether somebody's an appropriate placement for us. So we do have the right to ask anybody to leave at any time.
Because we own the house.
We own the houses and they respect our wishes.
Mhm.
That rarely happens.
Carl is asking, will this be recorded? Yes, it is being recorded, and it will be resent to everyone who registered for this class. It should take about 24 hours. Expect an email from Kendall or Protect Wealth, and that will come out tomorrow. So yes, we will do that.
I hope it goes out, but it runs out in 24 hours. So we'll see.
Well, yeah. Okay. So KB is saying,
don't worry, Don. I just,
where and when does the $1,000 discount show up? Even with the Protect code entered. Oh, Protect, make sure you're using caps. Jane mentioned, it's still showing up as $29.95. Make sure you're capping that, KB, and that should reduce it then from 29 to 19.
can you see my screen right now? Do you see the order form?
I can, yes.
Okay, so I assume everybody else can too. So this is where, when you're on it down here where it says the promo code, that's where you have to make sure to put in PROPECT, right? Well, no, that wouldn't work. And see, that's the problem. That's why protect, you got to spell it right first, and it's all in capitals. Then you hit this button that says apply, and that's where that $1,000 discount comes in.
All right.
If you don't do that, then it doesn't happen. So
this is kind of like making smoothies on TV, isn't it? Okay, got it.
Little inside joke there with Don.
Could this work in a small apartment, say 4 units with 2 bedrooms each?
Yes. We'd have to, look at placement, but yes.
Okay. Going through, what if you had purchased an old hotel or motel? Could you use it for shared housing?
It's difficult to say because, again, our focus is buying single family homes, and that's what's recommended by NAR. You don't need that for accreditation, but again, people just want to feel that part of society in suburbia and the neighborhoods.
I think the other piece is it's a real estate play for us too, in the fact that our homes are gone up 12% per year because of being in the Seattle market. So it's impossible to cash flow a home with a single family in Seattle. But with our shared housing formula, we're getting 2x, 3x what we would have as expected rent and that high appreciation.
Yep.
And we find that, as Frank said, if we ever wanted to sell a house, it's pretty easy. Maybe a little tougher with the motel.
Okay, Debbie is saying, can I use more than one credit card to pay their first card declined? Jean, how does she work around that?
Let's get our teams to talk to each other about that. Okay, Don?
You know what, Debbie, I've got your phone number. I'll call you when this is done, and
we would love to have you on board, but the system is set up for just one payment, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Carl's saying, okay, the 3-day asset protection. Well, all of them are 3 days, Carl. I don't know how to answer your question.
And I know Frank and Sherri have to go. They actually have little ones, so we're going to make sure to wrap up here in just a couple of minutes. Thank you for sticking around, you guys.
Please communicate to Jean that I'm looking forward to the REL class.
Woohoo!
Thank you. Good. Who's the certification body? Ali asks. Ali.
Is that for NAR, National Association?
That is the national organization, and then each state has its own affiliate. For instance, Florida is called FAR,
Yeah.
and Washington is called Walker. But all you have to do is go to the NARR naronline.org, and then just click onto the affiliate. You'll see the map, clip onto your state, and you'll find the address and emails for you might want to contact.
Cool.
Okay, Aaron's saying he's got a 14-room house, 2 full kitchens, 9,000 square foot. You know what? they're going to have to go through this one, Aaron, with you on this. It might be a really good investment. I don't know. And
Well,
I think.
let me change
Go
one
ahead.
part of that question. Frank and Sherri, if you have a really big house, can you have more than 9 residents?
You can, because you can get a variance. You know, we've actually gone to the city on one of our homes for a variance. They're very, very helpful. And the thing on that too, there's various levels of housing. So we do a single family home, but some of the bigger homes, if you wanted to be getting 20 or 30,000 a month, you can own that property and have different levels of stopping and treatment. I mean, the sky's the limit as to what you can do.
Yeah, there's additional programs you can offer within the home. Yeah.
Right.
Come to the training, you will learn more.
All right, we're getting some nice thank you. I think there's one more question. So there's no need for a licensed certified resident manager in the state and to keep in contact with the state. Is that correct?
No.
Cool. All right, we're getting thank yous, online training. Okay, I think other than that, do you need to have staff on site? I think you've answered that. No. I think those are the bulk of the questions and some very nice trainings. Debbie, I'll call you in just a minute. Thank you.
Yeah, Don, thank you so much for allowing us to be on, and for everybody here listening. You know, Frank and Sherri, if you have some closing words, and I'll just bring it all together at the end.
I love for as many people as can to attend one of our trainings, because what we do, besides show you how to use a shared house for a population of interest, oftentimes we're helping people kind of discover how they want to create a legacy, how they want to serve, you know, and create a viable business for yourself. You know, we love the independence it's given us. And we also love the people that we're able to house. You know, it's really a win-win-win. And, you know, if you have the right roadmap, you have the right tools, you have the right connections, it works. We've actually been doing some of our follow-up training with some of our inner circle clients via Zoom. You know, so we're expediting people to the finish line.
I love it. You know, I'm going to just finish this by again saying thank you, Frank. Thank you, Sherri. Thank you, Don and Kendall. And everybody here who's listening, I'm just going to want to give you a little encouragement here at the end. You have choices in life, and you can do anything that you want, any business, anywhere. You can do anything you want. And when it comes to making money, if you're looking for a way to make money, find something you're passionate about. And again, I'm just going to speak for myself. The older I get, the more I realize it ain't about the money. It's not about the income. It's not about the stuff. It's about people. It's about helping people, blessing people. Frank is all about serving people. So if anything you've heard Frank and Sherri or myself say here tonight has kind of tickled your thoughts, your brain, your heart, and you thinking this may be something, invest some time, some energy, some money, some resources into yourself. You are worth it. You can do this. And there's a lot of people that can benefit. It's your choice. And right now is the time to make it. Thanks so much for having us here. We appreciate it. We look forward to meeting you all in person soon, but seeing you online in just a couple of weeks. So take advantage of it right now. Thanks, Don. Thanks, Kendall. Thank you, Sherri.
Thank you,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kendall.
Appreciate you.
We're grateful
Thanks, you guys.
for your time. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing your heart. We appreciate it.